Oops, sorry, people. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot today, December 16th, 2024. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful evening. We're in the full moon in Cancer. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. The day before Saturnalia begins, right on that evening. At midnight, it'll start the festivities of the festival to the great Lord of Time in all of its many forms, from the Kronos to Astrea, the Virgo. Powerful, beautiful energy, and so fitting that when I was meditating this morning, I drew the Hermit card, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's start out by talking about or saying hi to everyone here in the chat. So let's pull this to the top. Good to see you, Mike. Much love, Lisa. Beatnik Balba, much love. Gomi Kozu, great to see you. Atma, much love. Carrie, much love. Isaac, great to see you. Da Phoenix, great to see you. NA, much love. Hollerhaint, great to see you. Pamela, much love. Christy, much love. Cynthia, great to see you. Mother Rhea, all the love in the world. D-Love, great to see you. All right. Let's see. Oh, I think that's everyone so far. Beautiful, wonderful. Love seeing you all in the chat, talking up a storm. Let's start out by discussing the astrology. So as I said, moon in Cancer, and it's the full moon. Beautiful, loving, emotional energy, right? Cancer is that sign of the mother. And in the sign of the moon, we want to be that mother and we want to be mothered in equal measure. It's such a loving, comforting energy. It's that also that protective guardian energy, that mother who protects and takes care of her young, her children, that which is most important, right? And this energy, we're going to feel that energy of the mother, where our mind is going to be fixated on taking care, on nurturing. And if you have kids, especially on your kids, right? But for everyone, we will be in this energy of motherhood. And we will also feel that desire and wish to be mothered, to be nurtured, to be cared for, to be comforted, to be held, right? It's primal energy, love energy. All right, let's take a moment and discuss the title. Find the self in nature in silence. As I said, when I was meditating, I pulled the Hermit card, which is Virgo. And it is that profound energy of doing the shadow work, of going into the self, of going into isolation. And through that hard work, ascending to the stars, overcoming the ego, asserting one's will upon the self and reality, overcoming one's base instincts, right? But it begins with that separation and that focus, that sitting in silence, that return to the natural element. I immediately think, like lately, I've been really reading and going over the biography of Numa by Plutarch. And Numa is such a powerful character, and he returns to the wilderness largely, even though he is the king of Rome, or the leader of Rome, I should say. He decides to live in the wilderness with his muse, Egeria Tacita, living with the muse, married to the muse in the wilderness. And he takes that vow of silence for 5 years, the Pythagorean vow. Now, I'm not saying that's what we need to be doing, but it is an interesting image. And it is one we see oft repeated by many of the great sages across cultures, across the world. And it's just one that resonates with me now because I'm engaged with this image. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it reminds me to take that time to sit in nature, to be in silence, and to connect to that muse, that highest form of self, right? Beautiful. And I also wanted to have some fun today and read a little poem. We've been talking a lot, my friends and I, about dwarves and gnomes and the Larrys and the little people and the fairies, whatever you want to call them. I really like the name gnome because it comes from Paracelsus, and it's an alchemical term, and it has a dual meaning of those mountain characters related to the kobold of Germanic mythology, but then it also is related to the Greek nomos and this idea of the thought or the mark or this, those thought forms, that which make up the mental faculties of the mind, right? Those aspects of self, those little aspects of self. And when you think about it in this lens, something like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs takes on beautiful new meaning, right? All of a sudden, this is a young woman who's cast out into the wilderness, and it is through mastering herself, which are those seven dwarfs, that she's able to, for herself, create security and find peace and sustenance in the woods, right? Which no one thought her possible to do, but she did it. She overcame her base instincts. She mastered herself and was able to work in harmony with those seven dwarfs. But yeah. And one of the things we know about the Larrys, which is the equivalent in the Roman culture, is that the great poets and theologians said that it was akin to the genius, right? Both the genius of the house, the genius of the house and the genius of self. So here we have a poem by Madison Julius Kawine called Genius Loci. What would God on this water's mossy curb, lost in reflections of earth's loveliness, did I, just now, unconsciously disturb? I, who, haphazard, wandering at a guess, came on this spot, wherein with gold and flame of buds and blooms the season writes its name. Ah me, could I have seen him ere alarm of my approach aroused him from his calm, as he, part hamadryad and part mayhap, part fawn, lay here, who left the shadow warm as a wood rose and filled the air with balm of his wild breath as with ethereal sap. Does not the moss retain some slight impress, green dented down, of where he lay or trod? Do not the flowers so reticent confess, with conscious looks, the contact of a god? Does not the very water garrulously boast the indulgence of deity? And hark, and burly beech and sycamore, how all the birds proclaim it, and the leaves rejoice with clappings of their myriad hands. And shall I not believe, too, and adore with such wide proof? Yea, though my soul perceives no evident presence, still it understands. And for a while it moves me to lie down here on the spot his Godhead sanctified. Mayhap some dream he dreamed may linger, brown and young as joy, around the forest side. Some dream within whose heart lives no disdain for such as I, whose love is sweet and sane, that may repeat so none but I may hear, as one might tell a pearl strung rosary, some epic that the leaves have learned to croon, some lyric whispered in the wildflower's ear, whose murmurous lines are sung by bird and bee and all the insects of the night and noon. For all around me upon field and hill enchantment lies, as of mysterious flutes, as if the music of a God's good will had taken on material attributes, in blooms like chords, in the water's gleam that runs its silvery scales on every stream, in sunbeam bars up which the butterfly, a golden note vibrates, then flutters on in audible tunes, blown on the pipes of Pan, that have assumed a visible entity and drugged the air with beauty. So a fawn, behold, I seem, am in no more a man. Wow, I love it so much. He transforms into a fawn himself by the end of the poem. Recognize those energies around you, the life living within all of the night, all of the nature. You too can meet these wood gods. Beautiful, beautiful. And you too can become a satyr. All right. Let's now go to our Ganapati oracle. Ganapati is the divine child, the guardian of the threshold, the master of beginnings, and the Lord of spirits. Whoa. The Lord of spirits, the Ganas. And we're going to ask him to inspire us this evening and to ensure our words are heard by those who need to hear them and send us all an inspiring message through the cards. So, Lord Ganapati, what is the message? Okay. Prosperity. Oh, wow. What beautiful energy. Look at that. What incredible abundance. And perfect for this time of year, right before the start of Saturnalia, the time of feasting, right? And it is that energy of being in that abundant, in that abundance, in that joy, prospering, embracing the joy, embracing the growth, embracing the love, right? When we see this kind of energy, we know that the universe is on our side and that we're meant to engage and pursue what is prosperous for us, to nurture our gardens and to eat of their fruit and to share in loving flow and reciprocity with our foundational relationships, those closest to us. And if we can, give in charity to the greater community still. For we have that ability, we should, especially during this magical time of Saturnalia, where we're all called to give and to flip those poles, right? To live in a time of freedom and abundance and to share in that abundance, right? Beautiful, loving energy. Love to see it. All right. We're now going to go to our sortes. The sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination through literature, and it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we invoke the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, and we ask them to inspire us and send us a message through the text. Today we're beginning with Women Who Run with Wolves, Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Muses, inspire us this evening. Guide my hand. What is the message? Wild women will hold us while we grieve. She is the instinctual self. She can bear our screaming, our wailing, our wishing to die without dying. She will put the best medicine in the worst places. She will whisper and murmur in our ears. She will feel pain for our pain. She will bear it. She will not run away. Although there will be scars and plenty of them, it is good to remember in tensile strength and ability to absorb pressure. A scar is stronger than skin. Wow, what beautiful, beautiful imagery. That midwifery imagery. I immediately think of the goddess Ilithuia, the great nurse of the Greek tradition, or Artemis, that other great nurse, right? Those energies of those women who provide in times of need, right? During the birthing process, there's no more vulnerable time, and you want that strong warrior by your side who can bear the pain with you, take the pain with you. And the call here is to remember that that's an energy we can all call upon in times of crisis, in times of where the pain is so extraordinary that we break down and can do nothing but give in to that primordial natural wailing, that inability to process where all thought of self is gone, you know? Few people ever experience that pain besides mothers, of course, right? Intense imagery, but beautiful imagery. Remember those nurse goddesses, Ilithuia, Artemis, and even Hecate. Beautiful. Let's continue. We're now going to go to Byron, selected poetry and letters. Muses, what is the message from Byron? Inspire us this evening. Advancing to the nearest dinner tray, tapping the shoulder of the nighest guest with a peculiar smile, which, by the way, boded no good, whatever it expressed. He asked the meaning of this holiday. The Venice Greek, to whom he had addressed his question, much too merry to divine the questioner, filled up a glass of wine. What a perfect message in this high holiday season as we enter Saturnalia. Advancing to the nearest dinner tray, tapping the shoulder of the nighest guest with a peculiar smile, which, by the way, boded no good. Boded no good. Whatever it expressed, he asked the meaning of this holiday, trying to start shit. What do you mean by all this? What is the greater meaning? What is the intention? You have to clarify yourself. Let me judge you, basically. Engage me in conversation so I may pass judgment. The Venice Greek, to whom he had addressed his question, much too merry to divine the questioner, filled up a glass of wine. And that there is the right response, to just ignore those kind of silly questions and to drink the wine, to enjoy the fun, to enjoy the prosperity, right? Back to Ganesha. Enjoy the prosperity and the love that you are experiencing. I think there's a greater message here too, right? That do not worry about those who seek to pass judgment, the gawkers. Don't mind the people grinning in your face, right? There's always people who are going to laugh, who are going to judge, and who are going to think poorly of you. This is just how people are, unfortunately. But there will also be those who will love you and want to be with you and want to prosper and share in that prosperity, who will want to feast and drink the wine. So pour another glass and enjoy this moment with those you love. And don't mind those people laughing. If you laugh back, they tend to leave you alone. All right. Paradise lost, paradise regained. Milton. Muses, what is the message from Milton? Inspire us. Okay. He ended, and thus Adam last reply. How soon hath thy prediction, seer blessed, measured this transient world, the race of time? till time stand fixed. Beyond is all abyss, eternity, whose end no eye can reach. Greatly instructed, I shall hence depart, greatly in peace of thought, and have my fill of knowledge what this vessel can contain, beyond which was my folly to aspire. Interesting. He ended, and thus Adam last replied, how soon thy predictions, seer blessed, measured this transient world, the race of time, till time stand fixed, beyond is all abyss. That prophecy, right? He ended. When did your prediction come to pass? When is the time over, right? When time ends, all that's left is that abyss, that blackness. Eternity, whose end no eye can reach. No eye can reach the end of eternity, for that light continues to just shine ever onward. Greatly instructed, I shall hence depart, greatly in peace of thought, and have my fill of knowledge what this vessel can contain. Having experienced and engaged and looked into that great abyss, recognize the barrier of time and the cyclical nature of reality, we see him say, I will return now back to my regular life, back to my form, but greatly instructed and in peace of thought, peace at having seen the truth and been able to engage it, no longer bound to imagination, but instead grounded in perception, right? And have my fill of knowledge, what this vessel can contain. I will now go out and live my life and have my fill of knowledge, seek to know everything I can. Okay, what this vessel can contain. And this is such a profound line. What this vessel can contain, beyond which was my folly to aspire. Because recognize the limitations of the self. It's an unfortunate reality, but it is a reality. We are human beings that live inside a body, and each of our bodily experiences is unique, and each of us is bound to said experience. We can expand it through the use of tools and through community and through greater understanding, right? Through that history. But we are still limited by experience and the experience of those around us and who came before us. All limitations, right? And we are bound by our time and place, right? We can imagine that maybe in the future people will know better. And we can see that people in the past didn't know in many ways, right? At least the average schmo, you know? Right? The point is we seek knowledge, seek to understand, but also recognize the absurdity of life. You're never going to know the truth of everything. So many of us are bound and fixated upon truth. Why? Why? Consensus is good enough, right? Form a framework in your mind. Recognize that these are frameworks and that all frameworks are wrong. But the cool thing about a framework is you can adapt it and you can change it. You can build upon it. You can keep working to have that clearer understanding. And you can admit your own limitations, right? Admit your own limitations. Yeah, Mike, that's one way to phrase it. Absolutely. Or coming back from a dream, coming back from a tense dream. Those who can lucid dream will know. All right. Let's continue. We're going to go now. Let's see here. What am I feeling? Oh, I've been loving this one lately. Magia, Alan Chapman. Muses, what is the message from Alan Chapman in Magia? The butterfly is the psyche or the soul. The stage of the butterfly represents waking up, where you resolve the problem of how you come to realization or how awakening happens. The stage of the butterfly represents waking up and taking flight. You have gone through that deep transformation, right? You have had yourself ripped apart down to its bare essence, reduced to goo, and reformulated entirely anew. That's the image of the butterfly, right? Where you resolve the problem of how you come to realization or how awakening happens, where you resolve that problem, you come to your own awakening through your own self means and what that means for you. There are many, many paths, and each person is slightly unique, slightly of your own. And whatever path you walk, you have to define it and decide it for yourself. Trust in the muses and be guided, right? Maybe you create something entirely new. Maybe you follow someone to the letter. Maybe you do nothing of the sort. Who am I to judge? The point is to try, to make the attempt, to experience life and to love it, at least to try to, right? Come to that realization through your own means. Go through that cycle, reduce yourself to your bare essence and transform. All right, let's continue. A sinister assassin, Antonin Artaud. Muses, what is the message from Antonin Artaud? Inspire us. We're living in the subterraneous of our unconscious, which I don't know what kind of interjection by the world of science or by the church. I don't know what kind of judgment cast upon the soul being born, and which arose in the first fishy stenches. I don't know what mythology of Argos or of Mongolia, Tibet, and it's as though the act of being born has already stank for a long time of death. Oh, wow. We're living in the subterraneous of our unconscious. None of us are awake. We're all manifesting a dream, refusing to look at the world in front of us. With I don't know what kinds of interjected by the world of science or by the church. By the world of science or by the church, each seek to establish a certain form of perspective and to occupy the will and thought of others in order to fulfill their needs, right? Oof. I don't know what kind of judgment cast upon the soul being born, in which arose in the first fishy stenches. When we first arose out of those, shallow pools. I don't know what mythology, Argos, Greece, or of Mongolia, Tibet, right? The great horse peoples. And it's as though the act of being born has already stank for a long time of death. For centuries, people already knew that we were bound and we were trapped, and they had developed those means. And Artaud points to two, right? The myths of Greece and the myths of the horse peoples. Interesting. Let's continue. We're now going to go to our tarot proper. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm, and I would truly appreciate it. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, you can reach out to me, snappydts@gmail.com. And if you would like to donate to the channel and support the show, you can find my PayPal in the description. Okay, and today we are using the Tabula Mundi Tarot by M.M. Moline. And we are invoking the energy of Saturn Kronos and asking them to dissect our lives, to expose them on the plate, to show us the interconnections so we can learn how to rise above the conflicts, how to best move and flow, and how to manifest our true wills, and what that greater message is for the community. And as always, the center card is our most important card. And today we had a card shoot out at us. Today's center is the Knight of Wands, Fire of Fire. being that passionate, responsible actor, that one who moves and pursues desire with the full force of his being. Intense, intense energy, right? Let's see where this is going. Wow, great way to start our reading. That hot-headed, fiery knight. You know, this knight with so much fire can be so fixated upon that desire, he burns everyone around him, right? But with that energy of the knight, he may be mature enough and know how to direct it in a smart way. We need to see where this is going. Oh, wow. The Fool. The Fool. We had the Fool energy yesterday, right? The Fool is that energy of Dionysus, the divine child, taking that leap into creation, right? Fawnies ripping themselves apart to be reborn. The dying and rising God, that one that laughs at the absurdity of life and goes for it anyway, who always pursues the desire, right? I immediately think of the art from the Pamela Coleman Smith thought deck, and you see that divine androgyne, that green man, that Dionysus figure leaping into creation with the energy fixated on the genitals, manifesting from the genitals in that divine sun, because they're in that pure pursuit of desire. And here we see the knight, a more refined, responsible pursuer of desire. It's almost as if this energy of the Fool, when we can leap, we can take on that role of that active knight. Where are we going still? Oh, wow. Beautiful. The Princess of Wands. That fiery energy of the earth of fire, right? The Princess of Wands is that magical divine child in that energy of the wands, of the passion, of the fire, connected here to our knight. We're seeing the knight rescuing the princess, nurturing the princess, striving to reach and take care of the princess, that muse. This is about pursuing that muse. But with that princess card, it's not just a muse of the self. This is a muse in the earth. This is a child. This is a potential. This is something that must be engaged, that must be nurtured and protected, that must be pursued with the full force of one's being, right? That must be engaged with that fire. All right. Wow. Sorry, I should show you guys. We got here that 8, swiftness, swiftness. And in the center, we have the caduceus of Mercury as well as his winged sandals, reflecting through that magical prism, creating the rainbow, the 7 colors, the 7 notes, right? The totality of magic and creation, of the written and vibrating word, of that powerful sound. And with the swiftness, we know, right? This energy foretells a big event. Crowley tells us, right, in the Book of Thought that this is a sign of good news and that something is coming quick and will be here soon. All right. And with that Knight of Wands, that's a powerful energy to meet this 8. So much fire here. 3 fire cards already. 3 wands, you know? And we see that Knight of Fire pursuing that swiftness. Where's this going? Oh, interesting. The Hierophant. The Hierophant. That energy of the Great Mother, right? The Great Mother, but in her role as celestial order, right? When I see this card, I immediately think of the great goddess Hera. I think of that power that moves through the earth, that establishes tradition, and that works to preserve order, that energy behind the scenes. Often this energy gets malaligned, right, within pop culture and gets hated, you know, the Bene Gesserit, things like this. But that energy can be beautiful and it is needed. It is needed to protect and to build and manifest that foundation which sustains us, that provides for us, that connects us, you know. And it's that energy that maintains the stability, that resists that energy of destruction and maintains that loving order for the future. So what we see here with this Hierophantic energy is coming in quick is this transformation into this role, into this embodiment of that religious figure, right? This is about taking on that authority of the teacher, of becoming that spiritual advisor, about being that one who can talk and speak of these things in that advisory role and understand the importance of this and what that means. You know, this is about connecting to that higher tradition, that muse tradition, and sharing what you know to be right in as just a way as possible, right? To maintain the foundations and to provide for that next generation. This energy is coming in quick, coming in quick. That Hera, that order. Oh, wow. On the one hand, we have the Hierophant, right? That Taurus energy into the earth, you know, that Venus in Taurus. Now we have that priestess, that moon, that beginning of the feminine in its most primordial, that unconscious self, that flow, that weaver of the great tapestry, right? If the Hierophant is the priestess embodied in the earth, right? It is the priestess who has now manifested her will, right? This is the priestess has now, the tapestry is coming to completion. And the imagery is that divine star behind. It is that in costume, it is those beautiful pillars, all of which are important to express a divine meaning, right? So that that image can continue on and continue to refine and grow and tell an ever greater story. And this is all coming in quick, connecting to this feminine, embodying that energy of the mother into the earth, right? Embodying that energy of the mother into the earth, balancing the self, being in that creative imagination, right? Going to the depths of the unconscious and giving birth to new form, to new ideas. That is the power of the priestess. And it's these new ideas, new approaches that are going to change things radically and that are going to bring in this Hierophantic energy, that earth energy, right? That Venus in the earth. Wow, that order. Let's see where this is going. Okay, interesting. We saw this same card yesterday. The strife. Oh, sorry. The strife. The strife is such intense energy, right? It's trying to expand upon our foundation, right? It's recognizing, you know, when we see the four in the Four of Wands completion, it's about finding that muse, finding that which we wish for, finding that which we see and understand is worthy of sacrificing everything for. In terms of the Knight here, right? The four would be that princess in many ways, that which is worthy to sacrifice and do anything for, right? And every knight needs a princess and needs a castle to protect, you know? So what this is we've now got that castle. We now have that muse. Now what do, right? Now we have to do that work of ascension. We have to carry her up to the top of the mountain. We have to see her will realized, right? As that knight, as that great defender and provider. But we are facing the strife. We are being pulled in multiple directions, right? We're facing multiple avenues of how we can go about manifesting this will. And we are facing judgment from the outside, pressure from the outside, those that seek to not allow us to assert our will and ascend that mountain, to walk that long and winding road, right? But with that energy of the night, with that energy of the swiftness, what I see is the strife is ending. We're going to find our focus. We're going to find our path. And we're going to make our ascent. We're going to make our ascent. Where's this going? Yeah. Abso-freaking-lutely. The star, wish fulfillment, right? That goddess being drawn to earth, the literal drawing down of the stars for which the channel is named. This is connecting to that great Mother Venus and the Pleiades, Asterope, Mariope, right? Beautiful, powerful energy. But the star also it calls us to do the magic, to connect to that mother and to ask, to wish upon a star, to imagine something greater, and to fixate upon that vision, right? That vision. And connected to the strife, we need to imagine a way up this hill. We need to not only ask for help, but how do we get there and what does it look like? What are you asking for? It's all in the spelling. Form in your mind as clear an image of success and how you get there as possible. And then ask the goddess to help you realize, help you connect to that dream. Let's continue. Interesting. Now we have the polar opposite of the Knight of Fire. We have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups. The twin energy, right? The twin energy. This immediately makes me think of all of we were talking about the Larrys, we were talking about the gnomes, and the gnomes begin with those twins, the children, the manifestation of the mother, right? Even the muses I don't even know what the word would be for 9 siblings born to a single woman, but they're a form of twin. It's beautiful. It's magical energy. But what we're seeing here with the Knight of Cups connecting to that strife and to that star is that in order to overcome the strife, we also need to connect to that loving flow. We need to flow with the universe. We need to find that path through new means. We're coming up against the strife and we're being told to stop stoking the fire, to take a different approach. When we see here that knight facing that strife, it shows me that the issue in many ways is that we have such passion and such, this energy is very fiery and very aggressive, right? Very fiery and very aggressive, right? So, oh wow, happy birthday, Kari. Sorry, I just took a look at the chat there and I saw that it was Kari's birthday. So much love, Kari. Wow. And a full moon birthday. I really hope you go out under the moon tonight. Stare up at Selene. Beautiful. Happy birthday. All right. So that night energy is such a profound energy here because it is about taking a new approach, taking a new direction, being in that loving flow, seeking community through connection, seeking to move people through persuasion, through that flow of the water. There's still the fire, right? We still have the fire of water, but we've now changed part of it. We've lessened the fire and we brought in more flow. And it is that flow that will allow us to move past this fire of the wands. And it's also about wishing, right? Wishing for that connection, connecting to that mother, right? And connecting to that mother in many ways is about being in that flowing energy. That the mother goddess, that Venus energy, she needs you to connect in that loving flow, to draw her down, to welcome her into you. You can approach her in other ways and she may respond, but she will respond best if you engage her with that mother energy, and she'll mother you in return. Beautiful. So let's look here now, going down. So we have that princess energy, right? How do we nurture the princess to her fullest extent? Yeah. What I'm seeing here is it's about refining ourselves, embodying duality, right? Becoming that truly responsible actor that can nurture and provide and conquer the strife, right? And to do that, we need to be both the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Wands. In this sense, right, the Knight of Cups is about embodying that feminine energy. It's about embodying that great mother, right? We've seen this so many times now, and the message is still clear. We need to connect to that unconscious self, to that feminine side. All of us have a feminine side. And be in that imaginative creativity, right? The priestess is the ultimate creatrix. She gives birth to multiplicity, to ever new form, to change and adaptation. And when you can be in that flow with the waters and you can embrace where the energy goes, you can also be in that inspiration. And through that divine inspiration, you can truly provide and nurture for this princess. And that princess needs to be nurtured. She needs to be provided for. And that earth of fire needs water. She needs water so that her tree can fully grow, right? It's beautiful energy, and you're seeing that mother, but not just the mother. She needs that responsible actor who's going to that outgoing masculine energy, right? Who's going to be in that provider protector form, but still with that watery flow, still with that loving connection, and they'll connect deeply on that fire as well, since they both share in that fire of inspiration. Beautiful. Let's go here. All right, the Knight of Wands, right? A great event is coming quickly. Something that is going to manifest change, and it's going to be swift. It's going to be intense, right? And it has to do with this conflict, with this strife, right? Interesting. Interesting. New fires are a brewing. Let's look here with that Fool, right? The Fool tells us everything. Embodying this energy of the Hierophant, the Hierophant is intense energy because the Hierophant is also just a fop in a costume, right? They're just they're just trying to do that loving flow, right? Just as the magician is also an ass, the Hierophant is also an ass, right? So much of it is in the performance. And when we look at this energy, we rebuke this energy too. It embraces tradition. It embraces authority, right? There are weird sides to this energy. But on the other hand, it is that great teacher. It is that great mother energy in the earth. It provides that order. It provides that foundation. It gives us strength. We can be in that power. And what we're seeing here with the Fool is having the audacity to pursue it, having the audacity to take a leap, right? To pursue that energy of, this is the energy of building your own church kind of thing, and asking for it, having the audacity to ask for it, right? To don that ridiculous hat and to sit and sermonize, But is it that ridiculous? Is it that ridiculous? And that's the question, right? Beautiful. All right, let's look at our crosses here. Okay, in order, this fire knight, in order to get to truly become that provider and to do what is necessary for him, we need to embrace the waters. Again, that knight needs to embrace his feminine side. He needs to become the Knight of Cups. He needs to manifest that loving flow. And when he can connect to that feminine side, then he can ask and can draw down that loving energy from the stars, can engage in that magical wish fulfillment. But it requires a change in perspective. It requires the connection of that water, of seeing the connection of us all, of pursuing something communally, something greater than the self. Often that fire of passion can be very selfish, or it can be very fixated upon something about desire, whereas the waters are about growth, right? They seek to put out fires and they seek to water the earth, right? The fire can lead to conflict as well, right? To destruction. The waters can bring destruction, of course. They're far from perfect, but it's a different kind of energy. It works in a different way. And this is about taking on that elemental energy of the water, of being in that feminine flow, of being that creative, that creator who creates of the self, right? The priestess is that one who creates of the self, who gives birth to new form, who imagines the world, right? And that's what we want to do. Connect to that unconscious self and give birth to something new. Transform ourselves into the Knight of Cups, right? And we do this in order to provide for her and to overcome the strife, right? To wish for something greater than ourselves, to embody that Hierophant, that energy of the goddess, and bring it into the earth and become that powerful teacher, right? Who can build something, who can be that actor who moves in loving reciprocal flow. We see the two twins here. One great part of the twin energy is always one side has to be let go so the other side can ascend. One sacrifices themselves for the other. And this is what we're seeing here. We need to let go of that fiery fire and embrace the fire and water, right? It's about letting one aspect of ourselves. It's served its purpose. It's time to move on from the night of fire. And it's time to become the night of water, right? To move on from the wands and embrace the cup and to share that cup with others in loving reciprocity. All right, that's the message. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. All right, let's do one final sword taste and then we'll call it an evening. Okay, the bell jar, Sylvia Plath. Muses, what is the message from Sylvia Plath? Inspire us. I walked back to the lounge. I couldn't understand what these people were doing, playing badminton and golf. They mustn't be really sick at all to do that. Oof. This is that imagery. She's in this judgment and is trapped in this kind of a hospital, and she's seeing people engaged in sport and activity and is lashing out, because she herself is hurting and is trapped and is sick. And it's painful energy to see. It's painful energy to see. And I believe the message from the Muses is to ask yourself, are you embodying this energy, right? Are you in that judgmental flow? Are you ill and need help and holding people to similar standards? Shouldn't they be relaxing? What are they doing? Lots to think on. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. And I hope I see you again tomorrow for more live tarot and sortes. If you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out, snappydddts@gmail.com. And if you'd like to give a donation, you can find my PayPal in the description below. All right, peace and love, and take care.